E a questo punto direi che ci possiamo collegare con Carlos Viriato, sarà lui stesso credo a presentarsi. Comunque è biologo marino, attivista della Fondazione E35 a Pemba, Mozambico, e si racconterà del progetto Mais Pemba in Mozambico, in cui come Remide Fondazione Reggio Children partecipiamo insieme, credo, a molti altri soggetti come il Comune di Reggio Emilia, Fondazione 35, il Comune di Milano, il Consiglio Nazionale Architetti. Chiedo notizie se ci siamo. Eccolo. Ciao Carlos, buonasera Carlos. Le lasciamo la parola.
I'm Carlos Viriato. I'm a biologist as an academical background, and I'm also working as activist at 45 Foundation in Mozambique, here in Pemba. And first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of the event, especially for having invited me, because I was not expecting to be invited to the seminary, and was really grateful for me to be invited. And my special thanks is to Eloisa, that was the one that knew me here in Mozambique and found somehow my work interesting. And I'm going just to share what I have been doing here in Mozambique through the Third Five Foundation and with project Mais Pemba. And I'm working especially in environmental education. That's what I wanna show you. I will just sharing my screen. Okay, as I was saying, my biography is a biologist from Louvain University, and also working with Third Five Foundation in Mozambique through the Mais Pemba project. And here I basically conduct lectures in the schools and in the communities by raising awareness of the community of how to best protect the environment. And we do this by doing a theater, doing lectures and debates on how well people should manage the waste from homes, because there is a situation in Pemba and in Mozambique in general that although there are most people well educated academically, there are also a lack of environmental education. People are not thinking of sustainability. People are not acting in a way that is ecologically acceptable. So our work is to raising awareness of how important it is to address the environmental issues and how important it is to consider when they acting during the activities daily, that the environment is also important, that the environment is also something that must be protected. So we work in the communities, as you can see in the pictures. We are teaching people on how to best manage the waste from homes and from their houses and how to reuse this. We also conduct debates on the impacts of waste management in the environment. We work in the secondary schools as well as the primary schools. Here we make students to think about the way that they act, to think about the actions in the environment and how they could impact the environment. Because we believe that in the schools, there are a generation that if they are well educated, they will be responsible for driving the sustainable development in Mozambique. And that's why we work with them, and we teach them how to best protect the environment, and also we tell them the impacts of the waste on their lives and also on the public spaces as the schools and another sites. We also work in the primary schools because also kids are important. They have to grow up knowing how to protect the environment they have to grow up knowing that as a human, we have a negative impact on the environment in the way that we have been acting until now. And especially telling them that all the world is worried about climate change, about things that relate with climate, and here in Pemba can be easily felt these things and this change that climate is experiencing. Here we basically teach students on how to reuse and how to recycle small pieces of the trash, especially in the schools, and what they can bring from home to schools in order to help as well the process of teaching from the professors. And we also building the environmental clubs in order to become environmental education continuing, because we know that we won't be able to change the way that people act in Pemba only by 1 year or only by the time that project Marsh Pemba will be working. So we know that environmental education must be continuous, must be done every year, every day. So since as well, the project has a main characteristic of having the start and at the end, we are working in order to continue to create skills on the students from the schools, to continue protecting the environment, to continue acting wisely, and to continue knowing that each action that they have can impact the environment. So we create the environmental clubs in the schools. It's just a group of students chosen by the school and chosen by us during our activities in the schools. And they work with us and we teach them, especially the 5 hours of sustainability, on how to reduce the waste production from homes and schools, and how to reuse and how to recycle materials that we think that is waste. And the most important, we also teach them how to best protect the environment by planting trees in the schools, and also not also in schools, but in every public spaces, especially in the homes and in the hospitals, in different parts, in the roads, how to plant. And here, the rule of time is not just in teaching them how to plant, but is to plant and also following the process until the plant reach an age that can survive its health. So, because there are so many examples here in Mozambique that so many organizations are only planting trees and not following the process, not living in this process of teaching students on how to best protect the environment by planting and also by building the school gardens. We are also giving them the skills on how to best protect the environment, on how to guarantee that another generations and another students that are more young will be learning from them on how to best protect the environment. With the school gardens, the special thing here is that we use the compost to fertilize the soil produced by the composting process, because we also teach them how to compost and how to reuse and recycle, mainly the organic waste, producing the organic compost. Yeah, and in this process of raising awareness, we also give another people different from students and other associations that are working for the community sustainability in Pemba on how to create sustainability alternatives of domestic waste management. So we build these things here. Here we have the example of how to best reuse the organic waste. This is a keyhole garden that is basically in the center that you can see the hole that we build above the soil, whereas the center that we put all trash, all waste from home. I mean, the rest of foods, all the organic food can be put in over there, and we put a bit more soil, and then within the natural process of degradation or decomposition of the materials, organic materials will be producing the compost that will be responsible to fertilize the entire people, and then people can produce food, can produce cultures like garbage, like tomatoes, and different things here. And this is the way that we make people to reuse and to recycle the organic food. We also engage elderly people, for young people, to using the trash from home and different elements on how to build another things, or how to produce another tools that can be useful. Here, for example, you can see the image of the woman, this elder woman. She's basically using a package from juice to construct a wallet. This was a technique that we learned from the team that came from Italy to Mozambique on how to do these things. And then we replicate, teaching the elder people how to reuse materials that we haven't learned these things. This waste could be in the road, could be everywhere, polluting the environment. Here we also teach students on how to reuse, and especially in the last picture, you see us teaching students how to recycle paper, because in the schools, the grand majority of the waste that is produced is the paper. So if we find a ways to reuse, to recycle the paper and deliver back to schools, could be any sustainable way of the schools to reuse and to reprobate, and to see that there are so many advantages of recycle. So at this level, we can only recycle paper because it's not required to use a high developed technologies or machines to do it. We do it manually, and it's working, and schools and kids are learning how to do this. We are also giving people different alternatives of how to use the waste by producing different tools. Here you can see in the first picture, we have what is called the briquettes. Briquettes is a technique of producing charcoal, because here in Mozambique, in Africa, it's common to people use a charcoal produced from the trees. If people are cutting trees to produce charcoal, that means that we are not being sustainable. So the way that we want to lead with this issue is to using the rest of charcoal, the small one that sometimes people just throw away, are not using, and we use this. And also we collect the powder that is produced when carpenters are working on wood, and we join these things and we build this kind of charcoal that is very organic and very safe and environmental friendly, and people can use this to cook on the cuisines. And in the second picture, we are using especially rubber tires to produce chairs, and where people can sit. Instead of just throwing away, people can use this. And you can see in different pictures here the examples of reusing materials from home and from what people use to. For example, if you have your cloth that you are not using anymore, we are trying to create or to produce a shoes, for example, and you can use again your clothes in different way. Especially in this last picture, that you can see a kids that are engaged in producing also alternatives, producing things on how to reuse. This is a carpet produced by the rest of class. So we basically joined different pieces of cloth, and then we produce the carpet. And in order to make the environmental education meaningful for communities in Mozambique, we had the idea from Italy, again, and from the team from Remida, that teach us how to build the centers here, that people can come and learn different techniques to reuse and recycle creatively waste. So here in this room, we have different stuffs that resulted from the waste. We collected waste together with Luisa and another staff that came from Remida. We collected together and we construct these different things from carpets to cups. We are actually trying to produce cups from the glass bottles, because the glass bottles are the most produced, especially in the weekends here in Pemba. People drink a lot, and we use these things to produce cups. We are just trying to cut manually and produce cups. We are testing different techniques to reuse and recycle materials that are used from home, and to teach people how to do this. Actually, we are also inviting people, we are also calling people to come and bring the waste, especially the waste that is not organic, that we can receive it and we can see if there will be another alternative. Because what we learned from Remida was that every trash, once cleaned, can offer different opportunities. We can see in the different ways that cannot appear like a waste. It can be something that can be used for different tools. And in this process, we are also making people learn from us and how to reuse, and that is possible. That's why our centers is called the Wanela, Karibu Wanela, which means, Wanela means discover. So we call people to discover what is behind the trash, what people can see together with the trash. It's trash in the road, it's trash in the home, but when it comes to our center, it's becoming something more. It becomes something more, can be useful for people. In order also to continue with the environmental education from the schools, we conduct, for example, a workshop for 20 students from schools, where we teach how to compost and how to use the compost from the organic waste. And here we built different alternatives for composting. You can see in the second image the garbage that we produce using a compost produced from the organic waste. So we are teaching people that can basically use these in this way. They can reduce the quantity of waste that will be thrown away. Our idea is to basically make people use all organic waste that they produce by composting at home, and use the same compost to fertilize the soil, because in Pemba all soils are not appropriate for agriculture. So it's so difficult to make an agriculture in Pemba using the natural soil, because it's not fertile. And in order to make it more useful for agriculture, we teach people how to compost and use their own compost. And the inorganic waste, for example, we use in our center, and we teach them how to recycle, how to reuse, or how to sell to different companies that are recycle. So here we have the main alternative that we find to tell people that it's working. We can be more sustainable. We can be more ecological friendly by producing different tools, by avoiding to produce so many trash and just throw away in schools. In the last picture, this is the compost that we produce. It's called bokashi. We produce from from composting. So we also showing people that it's possible, it's working, and we can do it, and it can be achieved in a big scale. In order to reach more people, we also conduct programs in the radio that we are passing messages on how to be sustainable and how to act in a way that is environmentally friendly, and how people can separate the trash from home, how people can reuse, how better it is for the environment to plant trees, how better it is for the environment to compost, and to use all things that we have to protect the environment. The most difficult part in Mozambique is making people responsible for environmental education. We have been feeling that there is a lack of sense of belonging. But what I want to say in this part, I want to say that people in Mozambique, they used to think that the public spaces are just the public, doesn't belong to anyone. They are not thinking that the public space belongs to everyone and we have to protect. That's why it's very easy and common to see people throwing away trash in the public spaces. So we are working to teach them that public spaces belongs to everyone and must be used for everyone in a nice way. And we also feel that the citizenship education is very important to people to know that we have to go on in a sustainable way. And the question that we are trying to answer to people in order to make them think on the actions and in the way that they impact the environment is, where does the how to progress go? And the answers of these questions can be found in this part. Because of lack of sensing belonging in people here in Pemba, all the trash that it throw in the roads and the public spaces is derived to the beach. So when the rain is come, all the trash is going to the beach, and the beaches are public space. And when people are in the beach, they used to say, the municipal council is not cleaning the places. But they forgot that the trash that is in the beach was produced by them, and they just try to find the guilty people to blame. So what we are doing now is to make people be responsible in their acts, in the way that they do things, and especially protecting the public spaces, having the sense of belonging, and understanding that each part of the environment belongs to everyone and must be protected. And we do this by the last picture, making people to segregate the trash, all the trash that they produce from home. They must separate on the organic and inorganic, basically on this. And with the organic, they can compost, and by the inorganic, they can recycle, they can reuse. So in that way, we are applying the 5 R's of sustainability, making people to rethink of their acts, make people to refuse. People has to refuse to pollution. People has to know how to say no of everything that impacts negatively the environment. People have to reduce the quantity of the waste that are coming from their homes. And especially people have to reuse and recycle. So this is basically what we do here in Mozambique, especially in the city of Pemba, making people think more wisely and make people become environmentally friendly. So thank you for your attention. This is what we want to share with you.